Now let's continue our lesson on the topic 3.1.7 and 3.1.8, the differentiation. Here are the formula of differentiation. First one, if fx is a constant, the derivative of fx is equal to 0. Now here the constant can be a number. The constant can also be a letter, for example, pi. As you know, pi is a constant, is equal to 3.1415 and so on. So the derivative of pi is equal to 0. Or the logarithm, let's say the logarithm of 5. Now, although you see the letter log, but you know logarithm of 5 is equal to a constant. So the derivative of log 5 is also equal to 0. And then if you differentiate a linear function mx, the derivative of that is just m. Why? Because of the formula number 3. If you differentiate x to the power of n is equal to n times x to the power of n minus 1. So imagine if you differentiate x, now x equals x to the power of 1. So if I differentiate that, imagine if I differentiate x to the power of 1, I will get 1 times x to the power of 1 minus 1, which is 0. So x to the power of 0 is just 1, and 1 times this one is just 1. So the derivative of x is 1. The derivative of mx is just m. And if I differentiate a times x to the power of n, I get a times n x to the power of n minus 1. So a as a coefficient, as a constant multiple, is not affected. You just need to differentiate x to the power of n multiplied by a. And finally, if you differentiate the sum of two functions, you just find the derivative of each one of them, then plus or you minus. Okay, so these are usually called simple rules. The constant rule, the power rule, and sum and difference rules. And also you notice that in order to apply the power rule, you must know the power. That's why we need to recap the exponential rules, like 1 over x to the power of n is x to the power of negative n. So if I have 1 over x, that means it's equal to x to the power of negative 1. Then n is negative 1. If I have nth root of x, means it's x to the power of 1 over n. So very often we have square root of x. Now that means x to the power of 1 over 2. If it's a cube root, x to the power of 1 over 3. Now if you have nth root of x to the power of m, like for example the cube root of x to the power of 7, or you can also write as the cube root of x to the power of 7. Okay, so they both equal to x to the power of 7 over 3. So remember, because of over n, that means the nth root. If it's the cube root over 3, square root over 2. And if it's a fraction, negative power.